Good morning, everyone. I hope you are well on this Thursday morning. Good news, got my tooth fixed. Wow. Um, and today, I completely lost my train of thought there. Coffee is on though, and feeling good. If you listen to this in the podcast, you must be like, what is going on? But if you're in your car and you listen to it and you're walking, just know I'm with you. We're doing this together. Keep stepping, keep driving. And side note, I used to listen to podcasts going into the office when I used to work, and I used to listen to loads of strength and conditioning, like loads of applied stuff, Just Fly, and all this sorts of things. And slowly but surely, as my evolution as a coach came through, I really veered away from those things. And there is a shift, a career paradigm shift. And I think part of it comes with our growth stages in life and our not only our cognitive stages, but also our social stages of our lives as well. And what you put yourself into. And I kind of I don't lean to it though, but I've had some pretty traumatic experiences in my life, and which have shaped and had to force me to grow incredibly fast, to cope with some of these situations, or grow because I've coped from those situations. So today's quick little coffee chat is all about a conversation I had with a coach this week, and it comes up a lot. And if you didn't know, a lot of my mentoring process and the coaching process that I go through is really redundant of strength and conditioning. It's a coach first approach. I'm getting my qualifications in counseling this year, and I am working with a couple of other coaches on the actual development of self-actualization coaching, and working with people on a human level, because I absolutely love it, and I know the benefit that I've had from in my own life. 6 years of therapy so far, and so a lot of the work that I do is guided questioning, and in a way of having just really powerful conversations. And what's even more powerful is when those conversations come as a group form. And I'm going to tell you something that's absolutely hilarious. In the last mentorship cohort, everyone left their job, and that was such a powerful thing, because they left their jobs to pursue the things that they wanted to do, and it all worked. So don't think that I'm on the call like, quit your job because I got fired and I hate the industry. No, not at all. I encourage people to stay in their jobs and pursue their passions and careers. But we find more and more people, especially that come into my program, are seeking change and looking for change and looking for that way and that conversation. And when 4 or 5 people are all sharing and being open about their pain and their frustration and their worry, it becomes a really powerful experience. And all of them that left their job have got new jobs, and started to build fantastic businesses and grown and pursued wonderful things. And it's just so beautiful to see. And this coach that I was talking to last week had a different experience. He the irony of self is wonderful, because he got everything that he wanted and he was still annoyed. And if he ever listens to this, he will laugh, because he knows I'm talking about him, because it's such a proud moment for us to go through that process and to completely regroup on it. And so I want to talk about the behaviorism that goes alongside that, and some of the feedback loops. And I've got a whole presentation and a whole 4 or 5 hours that we go through all this stuff. And And what we're looking for, in these situations, let's look at what we're trying to do. So goal orientated behavior becomes a point of what do we call it? It's an ego driven activity. All right. So it's like I'm attaching myself to something, because if I get it, then it means that I have success. And when that breaks down, we lose a sense of self within that, because what we've done is we've succumbed to ego. And what is the ego? The ego, I prescribe to Eckhart Tolle's version of what ego is. And ego is a representation of our pain body. And if you're not sure what a pain body is, a pain body is exactly what it is. It's a body of energy that represents all of our pain in our life. And our pain body can take over when we're in these situations. Have you ever been in an argument, for example, where you are just the vehicle for what the words are coming out of your mouth? You're not engaging with what you're saying. You're ranting, you're raving, you're expressing yourself. And that is a representation of pain body. It also comes through the notion of ego, and the egotistical activities, which is funny because people often think that I have a inflated ego. I've been told a few times, and I took that really personally to start off with. But then I thought, you know what? That is my ego, not liking that people have ego. I have a performance when I coach, and I step into a role that is confident, and I've developed that character of who I become when I coach, or who I become in certain situations to allow me to perform at a certain level. So, and sometimes that leaks into certain situations that shouldn't be. But enough about me. I've got a therapist for that. So when we're in that position, and we are faced with, trying to identify goal-driven behavior, and saying, well, I want this. You have to ask yourself, reverse the question, why do you want this? What does that give you? And if you understand what that gives you, then you can realize what's missing. And when we know what's missing, we can understand the story of where you found something was missing, or where that void became from. And it's a really interesting pursuit. So, for example, this person from, luckily ended up getting a permanent contract in professional sport, which is unheard of. Okay, permanent deal, pay rise, everything that he basically ever wanted, the security, and he wasn't happy. And when we there's a few circumstances around it that we talked about, but the understanding of why that arose was nothing to do with the actual thing that he was delivered to. It was because of his attachment to what it was anyway. And that's where you can, when people like they can get everything that they want, but they're never happy. That's exactly the notion of what this is. It's because they're not happy with their role in it. They're not happy with their place in it. And they haven't been able to succumb to the idea of ego, because if we're constantly chasing the next level, then you're never finding where you are at the current level that you're in. And I think this bleeds into the notion of the education realm in strength and conditioning, and the need to acquire new information. That's all ego, because why do people? Okay, so bear with me on this. So if you scroll through social media, Twitter, for example, you have lots of coaches talking about sophisticated means of training, or arguing over something that is literally just to assert their level of importance in the hierarchy of the industry. We're climbing that ladder. But if you take that out of context, you have a lot of people trying to prove themselves worthy of what they do to other people trying to prove themselves worthy of what they do. So what's the net result? you're going to create this cyclic behavior of people just trying to prove themselves to other people when they never actually become happy with proving themselves to themselves. and so this creates this absolute nightmare of the society and the culture of the industry. And this bled straight back into this individual, because he got everything that he wanted. He still wasn't happy. Why? Because he didn't deserve it, because he hadn't proved to himself and hadn't succumbed to himself in actually wanting and believing that he should have been where he was, because the societal conditioning and the cultural conditioning of our industry is to prove, is for you to feel like you are not worthy for where you are. So today, identify, are you worthy of what you're doing? Do you believe that you should be doing what you're doing? If not, is it the ego talking when you don't get that opportunity? Is the ego telling you that you're not when you do believe you are? And also, just give yourself a fucking break. Give yourself a break. Like I told you at the beginning of school, I'm with you. Listen, I'm having a coffee with you. You are, this can sound stupid, but if you are an S&C coach, you're a coach, you need to hear this. You're good enough. You're good enough at your job. You are good enough at your job. You have a job, so therefore you are good enough at it. Okay, so don't start falling into this way of trying to need more and crave more, because the moments will pass you by. The moments will pass you by, and that's exactly why all the education and everything that I do and the guiding that I work with coaches on is all about how to apply. How to apply. You don't need anything new. You just need to know what you know better. So that's it for today. Absolutely massive love to all of you. Thank you for the people that have supported this and continue to support me. If you do listen, I appreciate it. If you don't, you will never know what's going on. But back to my coffee. Here's to you. Here's to me. And have a great day.